All right.
Yay!
This is Google Hangout for student blogs, part of EdcampHOME. My name is Kevin Ashworth, and I'm the initiator. I'm not going to say moderator because I'm not moderating. We're just all here to talk. Um, and I'm a sixth grade teacher. I teach in California, and I did student blogging for the first time last year, and I'm just interested to learn what other people have done to make it successful, because mine was moderately successful, so I'm excited to hear from other people. So take it away, Carrie.
I am a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade special education. They call it extended resource, but my students are generally 2 to 3 years below grade level, and they're all in special education classes. I teach in a middle school in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, and I've been blogging for a long time. And then this year, my students started blogging, and even with their levels of ability, they did really good with it, and I found it to be pretty successful, and we were pretty consistent with it, and it was very fulfilling to them, and it was a great way to work on their writing skills. So I'm just excited to hear what everybody else is doing, maybe make some connections. The next step I'd like to do for next year is start to connect with other classes to get to start building some communities and maybe more interaction for my kids, my students, more comments and things like that, so they can learn what it feels like to share their story and have others read it, and other than their parents or their teachers and things like that.
Excellent. All right, Jet.
Hi, I'm Jed Butler. I teach high school math for Paris Union High School District out in Southern California area. I've been blogging since about January, not that long. And I haven't started student blogs, but it's in the plans for things that I want to get going down the road. I may be taking on a more special assignment role for the district instead of being in the classroom in the future. In that case, I still want to gain a good background in this so that I can share it with other teachers, because we are a Chromebook one-to-one district-wide, but we're a high school only district. So we've got the hardware, and we're also GAFE, so we got the apps in there too. But we're still trying to figure out how we're going to be using it all together. I know there was just a recent post too by Jay Atwood. If you guys don't follow him much, you need to. Where you can, in the same way that you could distribute docs with Doctopus, now you can distribute Google Sites with spreadsheet scripts or add-ons or whatever you want to call them. So I'm interested in bringing that into the conversation too.
Excellent. All right, Kate.
Hello. Hi there. My name, hang on, let me turn down Nemo. I am the academic technology coordinator at a pre-K through 4th grade private school in Dallas, Texas. I mainly work with teachers, but I also teach 1st through 4th grade technology classes. And I just started last year kind of blogging with the students, particularly in 2nd grade, really jumped off the deep end with me, and they had pretty good success with it. This summer we did a camp where we had the kids kind of blog home daily about their experiences and that kind of thing, and we had, I think it was summer, we had lukewarm expectation with that, but I'm setting it up so that we can take it more school-wide next year. I've got some kindergarten teachers who are really excited about blogging with their kids. I've got some 3rd, and I can, anyway, take it further. And I'm looking for some ideas to help make sure that we're doing this well, and other teachers' responses for it, ways to kind of help other people feel really excited, get really excited and get really pumped about it. And it's not just me,
All right. Thanks, Leslie.
Hi, I am a new instructional technology coach in Griffin, Georgia. I was an English teacher for the last 11 years. When I was teaching, I did some student blogging, not a whole lot, But what I'd like to do when I'm training the teachers in the future is to get them to incorporate more blogging, because at one of the high schools we have a school-wide literacy plan, and we'd like to get the students to write more, and I'm hoping to get some ideas so that I can work with the middle schools and the high schools in my district to get our students writing more.
Excellent. All right, so if on the left-hand side of your screen, if you guys click the chat box at the top, you can, if you have a link or a question or something that somebody's sharing and you want to type something, then you can throw it in that box, and then I can copy it and put it into a shared document that we can use later on. So if you've got a website or something, then we've got things that we can connect with. So I'm going to start just with a question, and then the conversation can go where it wants. What platforms are you using, if you are blogging, are you using currently or planning to use?
I use Blogger. That's just my personal preference. But I know there's a couple of other ones out there that are easier to use for kids than that one is. I'm trying to think of the other one.
We chose Weebly, and we've pretty much exclusively done Weebly because it's got a pretty nice, it's got a pretty basic app for iPads, which is what most of our kids are using when they're blogging thus far. And we just got Weebly Pro, so that's probably what I've set everything up to use for next year. But if it's awesome, great, we'll continue to use it. If there's something that we see is better, or an idea from y'all, we may adapt it from there.
Is anybody else in this district also a GAFE district?
We are.
Ours is too.
Okay.
No, we just started using Google, and as much as I'm trying, thank you, Alex. As much as I'm trying to get everybody on board, the person above me is kind of clamped down everything and won't let us really start using a lot of the apps until she feels it's necessary, despite what the rest of us are ready to use. So it's kind of one of the things that I'm working on for next year as well, is how do I get her to let go of the control a little bit and let us explore more and try new things, and bring that back to the community as a whole.
I haven't, like I had mentioned earlier, I haven't started student blogging, so there's not a platform that I have chosen. But if I were to choose one to start with, I probably would be doing Blogger, just because it's incorporated with their Google Apps account already. But if I would want to kind of play devil's advocate on that, and you started to talk about Weebly, like maybe you can convince me otherwise. And I'm not saying I want to be convinced otherwise, but I'm sure that I'm going to have somebody have that kind of conversation with me. Well, I want to use Weebly because I like it, and I want to be able to say, okay, well, let's play that out. So what you said that it had a nice iPad app. Are there any other design interfaces or any things like that that differentiate the platforms? Are you guys okay with this topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can actually kind of show you. It's going to be kind of crazy.
I'm a
we being K through 4, our kids don't have email addresses. So for us, it was, we can choose about anything. It's kind of the same thing when we do for Scratch. It's like I have to set it all up underneath my email address. They don't have email addresses to set up their own accounts, so it's all for me. I don't have anything set up on this one. For our for Weebly, I think I attended a TCEA, Texas Computer Educator Association event where another teacher was using Weebly, and she got really excited about it, and I was like, yes, let's jump on and do it. She had tried Blogger before and found this one to be easier to use. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up on my iPad so y'all can kind of see it a little bit.
It It is more user friendly, especially for the little kiddos. It's drag and drop when it comes to creating it. There's not as much code as there might be, but it's still, you can still tweak it out, and if you're comfortable with code, you can do just as much with Weebly as you can with Blogger. I'm pretty sure, and Kate can, you can. The only thing that is comments can be left anonymously, so you don't really know who's leaving comments for it. Whereas on Blogger, people have to have emails and things like that. Is that right, Kate?
Yeah, and
can you cut out comments?
Yes, it like sends me an email to let me know that somebody has commented on a post, and we try to encourage. Like, we'll send home a letter at the beginning of the year that says, hi, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, your child is going to be blogging. Here's the script. Here are some of our expectations for it. Excuse me one moment. Alex, sit down, please. And then, at that point, then the kids and parents kind of take over in commenting on each other. And, you still can, because you're administrator and you have the administrator privileges for it, you can jump in there and take it. This is literally, and I'm not going to be able to show this very well, but how it looks for it on the iPad. It's like you get 3 options. It's free. Your choices are basically to drag and drop text, photo, or video, and that's it. So for our younger kids to be able to just say, okay, I'm going to put my text in here, you tap on it, and it lets you type. You can go into, and when you do a picture, you can either snap a picture right then, or you can go into your photo album, which I like to do because I'll take them to Doodle Buddy, and they'll draw a picture and comment, or they'll take a picture of the potato plants seeds, the potato eyes that they're about to plant, and they'll label everything on it, and then save that to their camera roll, and then they'll put that up to onto their blog and kind of comment on what they saw from that picture. So we try to always tie a picture with a comment. Because we've gone pro this year, we actually will have the ability to do video as well, which we haven't had a chance to do to this point, just because we've been experimenting with the free platform as opposed to just diving off and going with the pro immediately.
One comment that I would throw in there in return, I do my blog on WordPress, and I've done, I think, 2 posts from my mobile phone using the WordPress app. It's an iPhone, and they have the same app, I think, for the iPad. Have you guys looked at using WordPress at all? Because you can control the comments on WordPress. Go ahead.
I use WordPress for my personal blog. I've used Blogger with my students and for my personal one. I like WordPress better, but because we're a GAFE district, I'm kind of sort of having to go with either Google Sites or with the Blogger with the students.
Okay.
And the Blogger app it sounds very similar to what Kate said with the Weebly. I think the Weebly does tend to be more of a blog that people go to, or if they're not a GAF web district, whereas other people might choose Blogger if they do. But you can take pictures with the Blogger app and type under. I was just doing it with a student who wanted to start a blog this summer for her personal, and I was helping her with it. And we wrote a post in like a couple minutes. I just am so, I don't know, I get giddy about kids writing. I think it's ridiculous. My daughters are 7 and 8, and they write on my blog with me all the time. I just think kids should share their voice and put themselves out there, and I just think anytime kids can be creative and share, it's just really, it's so powerful.
I would agree, and go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and we've noticed too, it's immediate feedback, and like our parents are always asking us, sorry, I'm going to shut a door. Our parents are always asking us for more information. We want to know more about what's going on and how things are going, what's going on in the classroom. This is like immediate feedback and this is actually kind of an angle that I took for a lot of our teachers who were questionable about it. This gives them, in the kids' own words, what's going on in class for the day, how things are moving, how they think about it, it's just immediate feedback for parents. So, at the end of the day, when they come home and they get in the car and, hi, honey, how was school today? And the kid goes, they actually can say, well, wait, let's go check your blog and see, and what you actually did today. And they've got a pretty immediate record of what's going on. And it kind of, I teach younger kids, so we start getting into what they're working on as far as writing. The expectations change depending on what's going on in the classroom. But I'm shameless in that most kids know when they're with me, I don't care about their spelling. I don't care about I care about them getting their ideas out and getting them down and building, get it all out. Don't worry about how to spell the word. So they have kind of that freedom. Go ahead.
One of the reasons that I also wanted to look into blogging was that with this increased focus on writing cross-curricular, so I teach math, but there's a lot more writing in the assessment process now. It's not just multiple choice and numerical answer. When you say, hey kids, write about math, they're like, what? What do you mean? So we got to throw it in there somehow. And I was figuring that, with just simple math prompts or starting that conversation through blogging might be a nice platform to jump into.
Jed, how much technology do you guys have in your classroom for them to use?
Crap load. Teachers have iPads and Mac Airs and Apple TVs and projectors.
Because as soon as you started talking about what to do with your kiddos, I could just think of forget the writing part of it. What about videotaping stuff? It's still sequencing. It's still putting your ideas in order. It's still having to be articulate and well thought. And the video part might really pull them in. Maybe your blog becomes a resource for other kids who need help on how to do stuff.
Right.
Like a tutorial blog.
Yeah, it could be.
And I don't know.
One of the things that I think that would be great, and I just read a great book. If you guys haven't read it, it's by Alan November. It's called Who Owns the Learning? And he talks about what you're saying there, what are the different types of student blogging or interaction or wikis, tutorials, that kind of thing they could run. One of the things that we have is this thing called the 8 standards for mathematical practice. It's this big thing and how they're getting measured and stuff. But one of them says construct a viable argument and critique the argument of others, where you literally just have to state your reasoning to everything and to also look at somebody else's reasoning and be able to respond to it and articulate your words, not just say, it's wrong. They have to break it down. So that idea of writing about that kind of stuff, it's just not as present as it needed to be. So this is one of the reasons I'm in here.
Can you, and I'm blanking on, I want to say it was 30 hands, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Have them record themselves actually answering the math problem. So they write it out, or they take a picture of the manipulatives that they're using. That's it.
Yeah, or Explain Everything is a nice app too, a real nice app. There's a whole bunch of TouchCast. I mean, there's some great video apps out there. I was even thinking, Jed, they could draw a picture of how to, and take the picture and then write something underneath it, or maybe they write math notes out for somebody. And people, the way maybe you could get to that that skill you were trying to teach is maybe teaching them how to make, I tell my students they need to leave thick comments, comments that are meaningful and give, that are honest and give critical feedback, but maybe you can get to that through the comments and not necessarily through the blog part, You
That's
could have
true.
some fun with this.
Yeah. We are on Chromebooks.
I told you I get excited about blogging.
We are on Chromebooks, so it's not as easy with the drawing part, but still taking a picture or doing a webcam video, something.
Google Sketch works real well, yeah.
And we can use that, yeah. Google SketchUp only works with.
I'm sorry, not Google Drawing is not too bad.
Yeah, Google Drawing. We did a lot with that this year. They were showing me stuff.
My kids love that.
I would not have thought of.
Jed, are you one-to-one?
We are one-to-one. We're a high school only district, kind of. We have one middle school, but it's 3 comprehensive high schools and 2 alternative or virtual academy, all that kind of stuff.
Carrie, are you one-to-one?
No, my students only have iPads if they have it as part of their assistive technology plan. But I've been able to finagle my way into being a one-on-one by trying to pilot it and then just kind of keeping the iPads until somebody asks for them back. But because they're just not using them.
That's me.
But
That's me.
but I have, but through this, I've been able to get most of my kids are one-to-ones, because it's just like, really, they're 2 to 3 years below grade level, and they don't have an iPad. I mean, that's like the great equalizer for some of those kiddos, you know. So, yes and no.
Kate, what about you?
We're not one-to-one. In fact, we only have 30 student iPads right now for the school. Next year, I know, it's sad, isn't it? Next year, though, finally, we're getting, each teacher is going to get an iPad at the very beginning of the year. I'd wish we got them at the end of the year that they could play with them over the summer, but again, it wasn't under my control. And then we have a laptop cart of 20 laptops in first, second, third, fourth, and kindergarten grade levels. Pre-K still has 2 desktops in each classroom. You know, they use that with their whiteboard. I mean, for what they are doing, you know, it's more like, let's grab a couple of iPads and take them down for our centers for the day. It's not quite the same. So we're hoping we can kind of pool teacher iPads for like a center for the day or something to that effect. You know, I have high hopes that maybe one day I'll be able to convince some people that we need to change that, but I don't. I digress.
What about Leslie? We forgot Leslie.
Oh, sorry, Leslie.
Oh, that's okay. I'm not sure about the district. We do have BYOD, and I think all of the schools. I'm more familiar with the high school that I've been working at, because I don't technically start my new job until the 21st. The high school I just came from had probably 6 iPad carts, 6 iPod carts. They're getting MacBooks. So they're, I think, well, partly because they got a $4.5 million grant from the government because the graduation rate was bad. But so and plus I think our district is Title I, so a lot of our schools have access to the technology. I'm just unfortunately not very sure, because I'm doing behind the scenes work right now, and I don't start until, I guess, a week and a half from now.
Well, one of the things that, you know, I started, and I teach 6th grade, so I use EduBlogs, and I picked it because it was free. I had no other experience with it, so I just chose it. And you know, the running of it isn't great for me. So I've heard a lot of positive things about Weebly, but one of the things that I had a problem with was I thought, oh, the kids are going to go crazy. They get their own blogs, and they're going to like just be insane with the writing, and it really didn't turn out that way. And I was like, what's up? And then it wasn't until almost the end of the year when I finally started getting them to get comments and work on the comments. And I was like, that was the key to getting them engaged in their blogs, was getting comments. And so I'm wondering if there's, other than other students in the class, how do you get more traction with that to get other people outside of their class to comment on their blogs?
It's really tough. I mean, my kids actually came up with their own hashtags, so every Friday would be the day that their blog posts were due, and I would tweet out their blog post title and the link to it and their hashtag with it, and that seemed to get us some. I mean, we got some comments from Canada and other places, and that started fueling it. I would share with them. All my kids wrote to one blog. They didn't each have their own. I just wasn't ready for that at this moment in time. I would share with them the statistics and tell them how many people have visited our blog. That really motivated them. But you're right. You're right, Kevin. It's just like any of us. If we think nobody's reading our stuff, why would we want to write it? You know, they have to get that connection. I've heard quad blogging, which I guess four people sign up, but you're like really making a really tough commitment, you know, to that, where you'd have to comment on. I'd have to find the link for that. It's called quad blogging, where I guess you probably are making like a yearly commitment to, you know, really commenting on each other's blogs. But part of me just wonders if something like this isn't what we need, where we all just, you know, say, hey, we'll get our kids to comment on each other's blogs. I don't know. Twitter's probably, for me right now, is the most powerful way to get the message out there and get people to comment on their
you guys
blogs.
do any cross-blogging with like a what would you call it, like a pen pal kind of thing, where you would be
I've thought
working
about
with
that.
another teacher?
hmm I do have a teacher in my area that I'm going to meet up with, and I think we're going to start by connecting our kiddos on Edmodo at first, but then, yeah, that's something I'm also thinking of, the pen pal thing. That's a great idea.
Especially when you have, like, let's say you have Kevin was talking about commenting was the entry point, and if you know somebody that has a already established classroom of bloggers, like some all-star out there who's been doing this, has the culture already built in, and your kids start by just commenting on those kids and then get the inspiration, and then maybe they can start bringing it into themselves.
Yeah, I think I'd like to share more too, like of other sixth grade or in a range of levels, share what other kids are doing. I had a few examples, but not a lot really. I didn't put a lot of effort into finding them, but I didn't come across a lot of student blogs that would be something I'd want to share with my kids to inspire them. But I think tracking that down would be great.
Do you guys have a host website or directory or something where, like, let's say somebody just wants to go and look at your classroom set of blogs, that you can say, go to this website, it's got all my kids listed there, that kind of thing?
Yeah, my classroom blog or website is through EduBlogs as well. So essentially my blog role is all my students.
Okay.
And their blogs. So you can get
Jed,
get to everybody.
I've never seen anything like that, but I know somebody set up like a big Google spreadsheet or something like that about all these classes that wanted to do Twitter chats. Why couldn't we set up a blog that had other classroom blogs on it, or a spreadsheet or something like that?
That sounds like a great idea.
That's a great idea.
And I know there's a hashtag out there like student comments or something like that. I don't remember
Comments
what it was.
for
Yeah, and it was kind of, yeah. I mean, I got a few, but then there was this one person that was always just putting out stuff. It's I don't know. So maybe we put it together a spreadsheet, put it out there, and have people add their stuff. I know there's at least 3 or 4 people from just my district that are looking for people to comment on blogs and connect with.
Okay.
So,
but
how about we establish it here, or can we do like a side Twitter search for student blogs? I'm just pulling up another window right now, looking up anything I can.
It's hard to find. If we could make a sheet for it, it would be really valuable to a lot of people, I think. And also, the other thing too is I love Kate's idea of just letting kids just write to write, but it's also it was really tough for me sometimes, and the little kids, that's so important because they just need to write, But as I got to read some 5th graders and 6th graders blogs, and the quality was just so hard to read. I think it's also equally as important as not just getting the ideas out, but that they're making sure that they're branding, that they're being taught that when they write to the audience that is the world, that they are branding themselves, that they're putting their best work out there, and the quality is important too. I think somebody mentioned it's hard to find quality blogs, written by kids, and I agree that sometimes it is hard. And really adding that importance that it's the world, like Leslie mentioned that, she wanted to work, they need to work on writing. That's, kids will step up their game when they know that everybody's watching. And I think if you can get people to comment on them, then their game even gets even higher because they know they have an audience that's really, really listening to them, So.
Yeah.
Sorry, my little soapbox about blogging.
Have any of you seen or heard student blogging, but in the context of 20 Time or Genius Hour? Not necessarily.
Some people use that for that.
I don't know if I'm saying that name right. He's on Twitter. He's I think a 5th grade teacher. Paul Solers, or
yeah, he's in my district. He's a 5th grade teacher in my district. Paul Solers, and so is Joy Kerr. Yeah. She does 20% time. Some of her kiddos have blogged. They're pretty good blogs. I don't know that they were written, very consistently. That's the hard part too with blogging, is getting kids in a routine to write consistently. It's tough. I think that's one of the reasons why now when I look back, I chose just to do one big classroom blog, because then it would always be filled. Maybe I even got to the point where when things got busy, instead of having everybody have a post due 1 week, I just chose, okay, Bobby, you're the first week of the month. Susie, you're the second week of the month. And so it kept the blog filled and moving, but it gave the kids a breath sometimes. And for my blog, because my students, the academic level that they're at, but also I wanted to play on that 20% time, they got to write about whatever they wanted, whatever. But if it was a sporting event or something, I had a kid who wrote about every kind of volcano and tsunami, but he had to go online and research it, and he wrote his paragraphs, and he wrote about, whatever was interesting to him. But that's the way we did our blogging, is that they were allowed to write with whatever they wanted to. But some of you guys are going to have to do different things.
You're talking about, too, right there, some of the structure and the prompt for the students to respond to, or the assignment, or whatever you want to call it. So do you guys treat the blogging experience as one that is a required activity, and do you have any type of assessment on it? Like, you completed this many, or you've used this level of language in it, or you demonstrated your understanding for this topic?
Yeah, I
Not.
didn't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I didn't have any requirements as far as what they had to do. As far as assessing it, I didn't. Requiring, I did mix a required prompt or a response with they could post anytime they wanted on their personal blog. But for me, they had to. I did have some certain assignments that they had to put on their blog. But as far as assessing it, it was more just practice writing. Just get the message, get your words out, and trying to give them a place for that.
I like what you said there, too, because you kind of implied that you have some required pieces that have to go on the blog, but it's a platform that's now built that they could use for just writing in general. They can go beyond your requirements.
Right. So I had a student like that went to Africa over the Christmas vacation, and he was posting on his blog in Africa so that the rest of us could see what was going on. So that was
That's awesome.
it was really cool. So I want it to happen more this year with this next class and see where it goes.
Yeah, it was a requirement for my students. They had to post a weekly post to our class blog. If they they had to write a proposal for their blog post, and I had to okay it. And then they had the week to work on it. My students, because of their level, were just working on writing a paragraph. So I had that assessment tool, and that also matched their IEP goals too, because most of them had paragraph writing as their goals. And so that I used the rubric that I have for paragraph writing to assess it. And then they were also graded on giving comments on each other's blog posts, and I graded the quality of the comment, just small points, maybe 5 points for doing, commenting on 3 posts or something like that. But next year, that is definitely a goal of mine, is to kind of improve my assessment piece for that. But if they wrote a proposal for a blog post and they could show me that they were working on it for 1 week and then it would take longer than 1 week, I would give them an extension, because it was just worth it, because the quality would be better instead of rushing them.
I've also, because I did media arts a little bit and a couple of years ago, and in writing videos and writing scripts and plot diagrams, all that kind of stuff, I was finding that there's way too much stuff for me to sort through, so I had to have them do a lot of peer assessment, and then I just facilitated that. So I don't know how much you guys have incorporated peer assessment in that, or how much you can, especially when you're at a younger age group. But that's something that's kind of on my list of considerations going into the process. Any Leslie or anybody else have a comment on that that's dealt with maybe students that could assess each other, or maybe you can do it at a younger level?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I've tried in the past having some peer assessment, but unfortunately, and I think because we didn't necessarily have the time to focus on it all the time, my students didn't take it quite as seriously as they should have. The children it helps them with their writing more if they look at other people's writing. So that's hopefully something that we can deal with.
I also want to avoid the classic online learning write one post, respond to 3 kind of thing, and make it almost too boring.
Yeah.
I'm responding because I have to respond.
Right. The
Is
teacher
that
said I
enough
had to
characters?
respond to 3. I don't really care about this, but I like what your topic is. What's the show and tell thing? I like
Yeah.
what you said, and I think it's really cool. And
Yeah.
we typically, our kids, like our teachers will check it before they push publish. Again, we're mostly just checking for what the kids are working on. You know, if they should be able to write a full sentence. You know, there should be punctuation at the end of the sentence, a capital at the beginning, stuff like that. You know, some words they are expected to spell correctly because that's where they are. Aside from that, I think there's a mix of where we'll tell them that we'd like them to post on something specific that's going on. For example, we did the potato. They were about to go, 2nd grade was about to go plant their potatoes, and so we kind of did a little bit about, you know, what to expect and what's going on, and then they kind of commented on how they did it and what they, you know, predicting what's going to happen next and that kind of thing. And then it's also something free to do. So if, you know, Susie comes and talks to me after she's all done, but I've already done my math problem, well, I want you to, you know, pull up your blog and, you know, here's the iPad, tell me about what you did, tell me about how it worked for you, tell me about some things that you'd change. As far as commenting, kind of like I said before, most of our commenting is done at home. But I think with 4th grade, that's going to change this year. I think it's kind of opening an opportunity, because one of my teachers was asking me if there was a way that she could get her kids to kind of better interact and talk to each other kind of across classes. So, you know, the yellow group will be in here at one point, and then she'll have, you know, the blue group come in next, but she wants the yellow group and the blue group to kind of interact as they're creating their operas. Well, you know, what's a way to do that? Well, you know what? Guess what I've just built for you? Like, you know, here you go, Jody. It's all set up. So I'm hoping that some of that kind of does open the door, but I think you're right in saying that we have to be cautious with the format of, you know, now you're required to go find 3 friends, because you'll also, you know, at least for some of our girls, they will only comment on the same 3 girls. Like, you'll have 4 girls who comment on each other's stuff only, and they won't ever really see them. And you'll have one kiddo who's completely left out, and no one ever comments on his blog because he's kind of, you know, he has the social interaction challenges that, you know, other kids don't have. Or, you know, so I think there needs to be some guideline when it comes to some of that, but
almost like a random assignment. Like, it's almost like you have to randomly assign whose blog they have to read and comment on.
Ooh, draw it out of the hat.
Yeah. But I mean, you bring up a great point there, because you don't want to expand the gap of social interaction where the loners are even more alone, because because it's even more public. They see everybody else's comments. It's not just implied because you're not talking to me, like, you literally see it. Yeah, but that's a really good, like, you know, watch out for this kind of thing. Hey,
yeah, I think I'd like to get parents involved too, in getting parents commenting, like, you know, go check out 3 blogs that are not your kid's blog, and leave some comments, because I think, at least in my school, I could definitely get some traction with that.
Yeah, and that's an easy entry point for parents. They don't have to understand an entire lesson or experience to be able to read a post and comment back. That's a really kind of get your foot in the door. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Hey, how are we doing on time? Do we go till 6 or?
I think we go till I think I was supposed to stop.
I think so too.
So
this is awesome, though.
And I want you guys to be able to sign up for session 2. So I really appreciate it. Kate, are you on Twitter?
I am.
Or can you throw your Twitter handle in the chat?
Oh, I thought
box?
I did. I'm so sorry. Yes. Give me a moment.
Or you might have did and I didn't see it.
And then
it went away. Oh.
Did somebody want to start this spreadsheet? Do we want to go with I'm happy to do that. I think it'd be worthwhile.
Yes.
I think
I
so.
love it. I think it's great.
I think I could get a couple people. I know that Paul Solars and Joy, we've talked about doing some of that quad blogging, but I'm really afraid of getting into something that they want you to like commit to.
Right.
And that's just too much pressure. But I think if we could do like what Jed was saying, like a pen pal thing, that would be really fun, I think.
Yeah.
Or and just to have a resource.
Yeah.
You know, to go to. So yeah, I think.
Well,
that
and
would be
having
great.
another blog to comment on might alleviate some of the problems with what you guys were having with the peer things, because we become more of a family when my class blogs together and reads each other's, whereas I can understand now what the you know, general education, the bigger population would run into. We don't run into that in my classroom.
Yeah.
So having some other blogs to read might alleviate some of that.
Absolutely, and being able to do it with a pen pal, at least especially for our kids, it would definitely give them an opportunity to kind of branch out beyond just here's my little group of friends that I go play on the playground with all the time, so of course I'm going to comment on theirs. Well, you know, now we've got, you know, actually your pen pal is going to be, you know, Billy from Rhode Island.
Right. And some different thinking. Yeah, for sure. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Hey, one quick
What
note
do we
on
blog
that
anyways?
for the spreadsheet or like whatever we want to throw in there. I was just doing a couple of searches for Bitly links just so we could share stuff out there easily. And Bitly/blog pals is available. Student blogs is not, and I'm sure a bunch of other things is not. But what do you guys think about the brand blog pals?
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
And
that's
then we
good.
could make that our hashtag too. I bet you that's not even taken. I've never thought about that one. I'll search it real quick. I bet you that's not taken as a hashtag either.
Yeah, and even doing, if we had a forum, a Google form, that would go into a spreadsheet. Like fill out this Google.
Yes,
Both
love
of
it.
them. Well, yeah, because maybe after you submit the form, you could view the other responses.
Right. Yeah, you just add them on as editors onto that document, and then they could see it.
Well, I don't think you even have to add them on as editors.
It'll add them right on as the form. Yeah, it'll go right into the form. We'll bring it right into the spreadsheet. All right, so there is a hashtag for blog pals, and it sounds like it's more of a mommy blogger woman, or you know, women are using it. But what if we did like student blog pals, or I know I was hoping it wouldn't be used. I think it's kind of a little blogger group.
Let's just
I
take
mean, there's
it
not
over.
many.
Just
I
take
mean,
it
I
over.
see like.
Commandeer it.
Honestly, I feel
We're
like-
gonna
I
hijack
see
the hashtag.
I do. I see like 6 tweets though, so maybe we should just take it.
Take it.
Yeah, done. It's
Take it.
ours now.
Yeah, if you look at these tweets, they're like once a month, if that.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So-
Somebody made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're,
let's-
they're welcome to join us.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
All right,
Oh.
everyone. I'm going to stop the broadcast so you can get back to the.
Hey, wait, Carrie,
Hang on.
so
Yeah,
you're
go
in
ahead.
charge of that? You got it?
Yeah, so I'll just invite all you guys to the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, and we'll create
I can
a
make the
form
form
that.
up. Yep.
Awesome.
That's great. I think that's really cool. That was
This-
awesome. Great session, you guys.
Thank you,
Definitely.
guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.